Welcome to the Careers Chat, and today we're talking all about assessment center.
Yeah, a topic that currently a lot of people are facing, and something that this is basically, I think we'll use this episode as an introduction to what assessment centres are.
Okay, so we'll mainly talk about what these are, why employers run assessment centers, and what to expect and how to prepare.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will get a recent graduate who's completed successfully assessment center who can share with you the experience of preparing and passing a tough assessment center. Okay.
Yes, I think that would be good for the future.
Good. So, without much ado, let's start. Ship. So, why are employers using assessment centers?
So, if you think about it, you've gone through the application, you've passed that on paper, you're everything that they want. You've probably done a video interview and you've probably done psychometric tests. And the video interview is all about competencies and you've passed that. And the psychometric tests are either situational judgment tests or they're psychometric tests and you've passed those. So you've met their expectations. So you're probably thinking, well, why do I need to do this? Well, they kind of want to see you in person. They want to see how you interact with other people. And group work is a key part of the assessment process.
So, during the assessment centers, you will be assessed on your communication skills, on your ability to work with others, your ability to engage with different viewpoints in order to come with a common solution to a design problem.
Yeah, so basically you're going to practice being in their team. So problem solving, all of the competencies that you've claimed in your answers on the video interview and on your application, you're actually showing that you use them.
You do what you say, basically.
Yes.
So, are the assessment centers in person or they can be virtual?
Usually they're in person because they want to get a feel for you. And although some assessment centres, it's a bit of a legacy from times of COVID, there have been some that have persisted with that because it's just cheaper to do. But they are harder, I think, for the student because it's harder to kind of build a relationship online. It's not impossible, but the majority, yes, are in person.
So, can you tell me what happens on the day of an assessment center?
So this can vary depending on the organisation because they will get their assessment centres created for them by professional agencies. Usually you will have an icebreaker, and this is to introduce you and to get that team dynamic going, and also to see your personality. Then you will have maybe an e-tray exercise. You might do a personal presentation, and that could be just with flip chart and pens, or it could be you've been asked to do something using PowerPoint. There is going to be a group exercise of some kind. Now, it depends the area you're going into. This could be everything from a group discussion to a case study to a discussion where extra information is introduced over a period of time and you've got to come to a shared consensus on what you're going to do. And it could also be a group presentation. It can be a combination of all of those together. So in the past, what it's been is things like a game exercise where, sort of lost in space or lost at sea. What would you do? What does the group think is the best situation? You're given limited information and you're trying to do the best you can from there. And they're looking about your problem solving skills, your critical judgment. What are you doing? Why do you think that? How do you listen to other people? I think the issue a lot of people face is they never know, am I going to say too much? Am I not going to say enough? What you don't want to do is talk over someone. But by the same token, you also don't want to be the one that says nothing. And I think sometimes international students culturally have experienced a problem in this area where they're being very respectful of other people. They're about to speak and someone just jumps in. So I think I always encourage people to, before the exercise starts, to kind of set the ground rules and say, can we agree? People raise their hand before they speak, perhaps. Or if you've got a great idea, that's fabulous, but please let's not talk over each other. And timekeeping, that's a key thing. Volunteer to be the timekeeper or, remind people. You don't have to give them time checks every 5 seconds. But by the same token, you don't want your group to run out of time. And I think building consensus is the way forward.
Yeah, I like that idea. And I know some other people say, okay, we can take turns rather than raise hands. You can say, okay, each one of you has a minute to say what they think about this problem, offer solutions, and then we can move on. And this is the first round. Everyone says once. And then the second round, people will start picking up ideas from others. So that
Yeah.
informs the group thinking. So you can take rounds until you come to a final solution. And of course, timekeeping is important,
Vital.
agreement or who will present the final outcome of the discussion to the panel and so on. But I agree with you, just be respectful, be aware that you need to voice your opinion, sometimes even be assertive and stick to
Yeah.
your point if you believe that's the right solution, but do it always in a professional way and polite to
Yes,
everyone.
explain yourself. Say, I understand why you think that, but can I give you the counter argument here? And be aware that you have people monitoring your behavior. Usually, what happens is each assessor has two people, sometimes three. They are watching for you. They will know when someone talks over you and how you respond to that. Because in the world of work, people are going to talk over you. They are going to interrupt you. So, what strategies do you have to deal with that and to say, well, do you know what? Let me deal with this. Let me address this. So, hang on. Just let me finish because I think if I get to my point here, I think you'll see that we're coming more or less from the same position. I'm just giving you the full picture. I think getting too waffly and too wordy is not the way to go. But by the same token, being considered but being firm in this is what I think that's important too.
I like that. And you're right. Yeah, there are assessors who will be around you, observing everything you say, everything you write, how you interact. And recently, I've seen someone who was just on their phone all the time during the assessment center exercise. So this is part of the activities. And how does the assessment center finish, and what happens after that?
So usually it finishes with the interview, and people might do interviews. They might move things around so that if they're interviewing one person, there's other exercises like E-tray exercises or redoing their psychometric tests might go on. So there'll be a way of balancing, or there might be two panels working at the same time, and sort of so things can vary depending on the way it's configured. But usually what happens is you all have one day, you'll go through all these processes and then they'll thank you for attending. Sometimes they will offer to pay expenses, most of the time they won't. And you'll go away and you might be told you will hear within X number of days, a week. When you get the results, whether it's a yes or a no, I would always ask for feedback. And most companies at assessment center level will give you that feedback. I know when you're disappointed, you are kind of thinking, I don't want to know. I just want to crawl away, hide under my
Correct.
duvet
Yeah.
and but no, you've got to rebuild from this. So, what could you have done better? Listen to that feedback because there's going to be another assessment center. And I think you've got to balance it. Certain companies want people to behave in a certain way, another company might be different. But listen to that critique of how you've behaved. One thing I always tell everybody, and there is a video that you can watch on our YouTube channel, you're always on, you're always being assessed,
Yeah.
your behavior is always being considered. Never let your guard down. Always be friendly. From the moment you arrive, be polite to everybody and be friendly and engaging with everybody. It's going to be tiring, but it's worth you doing it. Because if there is such a narrow margin between you and someone else, and you have been on your phone during the lunch break and not interacting with other people, well, how are you going to behave in their organization if you weren't polite to the receptionist? They talk to the managers and they will let you know. So what I would say to people is from the moment you arrive, be the best you that you can. Don't complain. Don't be on your phone all the time. Talk to the other candidates. What you often will find is you're not going for the same position. You will often be at an assessment center with someone who is an engineer, someone's doing the HR stream. Find out about them. I do know one graduate who actually met his fiance at an assessment center. Yeah.
That's the most romantic story I've heard. I could never imagine that.
Well,
So,
they just got chatting and she got through, he didn't, but they kept in touch. Yeah. So yeah, it does happen. I'm not saying that's the way to meet people.
No. No, we suggest other ways.
Yeah.
But it could happen. And you're right. And even I know someone who actually failed the assessment center at the end when he was walked to their car. This person just patted the manager on the shoulders, like, oh, good chat. We had good chat, mate, or something like along these lines. And I'm afraid that was the end of the story. So
Yes.
you're right. From the moment you entered the building, from the reception staff until you get in your car outside, just be your best self.
Definitely. And always think if I say this, how does this come across? I know what I mean. And if you see that look on someone's face, so can I just explain what I meant by that?
Very quickly.
Very quickly, jump right in. Yes.
And how can students, recent graduates, prepare for an upcoming assessment center?
So your university will have a range of resources. At Warwick, we have Graduates First. So I would recommend that you utilize those before the assessment centre. You can talk to your careers consultant. Most universities offer career support 2+ years after graduation.
And the universities run also mock assessment centers while you're
Some
students?
do. Some will give you a webinar or a workshop around what goes on in an assessment centre. They don't always do mock ones because the amount of time and that you would have very small numbers for it to be effective. So not all universities now do that. But I think the overview and the ability to practice psychometric tests and also to practice the interview with something like Graduates First, you can get feedback from that. It will say, that was good, but to increase your opportunities, do this, and this. So that can be a really useful tool. And think about how you behave in your group works. For a lot of the postgrad students who are listening to this, they will tell you they do a lot of group work simulations, business simulations. So that's a practice for you. And think over the course of the year how you develop. You go from the really quiet person to, somebody comes in. I know a lot of people say, but Siobhan, I'm an introvert, I'm very shy. An introvert and being shy are not quite the same things. An introvert is how you think. You take the information on and you digest it, and then you come up with a solution. An extrovert is actually someone who needs to talk through what they're doing. It doesn't mean to say they're confident. It just means this is how they process information. And some people need to do things. Some people need to read about things. It's all different learning styles. So if you are quiet and if you are shy, say, I need time to process this. And again, if you're dyslexic, if you're on the autistic spectrum, let people know that this is who you are. Engage with them and say, just so you know, this is my mind operating system. I do this way. So if you think I'm not engaging, it's actually, I'm just mulling this over, I'm thinking this through, I will come back. Some people, I think, particularly if they're autistic, feel put on the spot by these things, but you have to contribute. If you let people in on who you are and how you work, they will be supportive of you.
Yes, and of course, I think before going to the assessment center, you will be asked to declare any reasonable adjustments you might require.
You are, but I've known people not tell.
Yes, it's personal choice.
Yeah, it is personal choice, but what I would say is you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. The feedback I've had from recruiters is we can't look at you differently. We just need to make adjustments so it's a fair and even playing field. But the student will say, but if they know this about me, they won't want me. And I think that's more about their thinking. And listen, in the modern workplace, we all do training courses around diversity. Diversity is a positive, and different thinking styles make a company more productive and more successful. So they will tell you, forget about the negative, see it as just, this is who I am, and disclose. And if you need help with that, your career service will help you.
Yes, and maybe we can have another podcast chatting about this and how you
That's
you
a good
do
idea.
it. Write it down.
I am.
But the other thing I thought about is preparing mentally for the assessment center. I think being in a resilient mind state
That's
is
good.
very crucial.
Yes.
So whether before the day you take the day off, you do some mindfulness exercises, you go for a walk, do something to allow your brain to be at its full potential, working properly on the day, because stress can just close our thinking side of the brain.
Definitely.
And then it will fail you. So controlling your nerves is crucial.
Tell yourself, they want me. That's why I'm here. They want me to demonstrate why they've selected me. I need to go into deeper depths. I need to give more evidence, but they are interested in me. Let me show them. And if the imposter syndrome is kicking in with you, just remind yourself, clever people get imposter syndrome. Stupid people don't.
Okay, lovely talking to you.
It's
and
always a
I'm sure
pleasure. I
we
always
will
enjoy
continue.
seeing you.
Yeah, thank you, Shiv. And
Thank you,
bye-bye.
Konstantina. Bye.